Remember that? When's the last time they did that? But yes, the Addams family has come a very long way over the years. And I dare say might be the most popular they've ever been, thanks to this Wednesday show on Netflix. But interestingly, with this new season, it almost feels like the show is getting back to basics when it comes to the Addams family. Is that good or bad? I myself am not quite sure because I haven't seen all of season 2, and neither will you because of how Netflix has decided to distribute this new season. But yes, welcome to my non-spoiler review of Wednesday season 2, part 1. That's right, with a lot of other streaming services switching to a weekly release schedule with great results. Netflix, though, is in a difficult position because their customers love to binge, and everybody loves a good binge. But how do you keep your show in the pop culture discussion if your show is consumed within like a matter of hours or just a day, right? Well, I mean, the first season of Wednesday didn't have a problem with that at all. And all eight episodes were dropped at once on Thanksgiving for the holiday weekend. And it was on everyone's mind for quite some time. I guess because people slowly were discovering it. And I guess they feel, now everybody knows. And so they're trying to stretch it out. Right? Well, I mean, this is a strategy that's not new for Wednesday. Netflix is doing this with a lot of their shows. What do you feel about the part 1s and part 2s? I don't know how much of a fan I am of them, to be honest with you. But the first season of Wednesday to this day is still Netflix's, it's been like a couple of years at this point, it's still Netflix's second most watched show of all time behind only Squid Game season 1. Huge hit. But still, so you'd think they wouldn't tinker with it at all. But Stranger Things season 5, which will also be broken up this year into 3 parts, has Thanksgiving booked, as well as Christmas and New Year's. So here's Wednesday season 2, moved up to part 1 in August. 4 episodes are up right now. And then an additional 4 episodes one month later, not for Labor Day weekend for some reason, right after Labor Day weekend. And why wouldn't they do September and October, right? It seems a little early for Halloween celebrations, but I mean, at the same time, just ask the theme parks who start their Halloween celebrations in August as well, because people just love Halloween that much. It's as popular as Christmas at this point. But I do wish this was a little closer to like the fall. And I gotta say, as good as these episodes are, these 4 episodes, and they're very good, having only 4 episodes does feel a little anticlimactic. It's a little underwhelming. I would have preferred to get the entire season. But of course, the really big question is Wednesday season 2 as good as season 1? I would say yes and no. Gosh darn it, Grace, pick a side. Well, it's hard. I haven't seen the whole season. I've only seen part 1. But if you want a decisive opinion, did you see my Alien Earth review, which went up early this morning? I have a very strong opinion there. And if you were subscribed, you would see all of my videos. Just hit that subscribe button down below and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. And so if you haven't checked out my Alien Earth review, I hope you will do so after finishing this video. All right, so what do I mean yes and no, right? I mean, a lot of you have a lot riding. It's been a while, though. Are you still as excited about Wednesday as you were before? Well, I would say at least in the first 4 episodes, there's no moment like Wednesday at the school dance in season 1. That was the moment where I knew this show and Jenna Ortega's performance were truly something special. And they just don't have that moment again in the first 4 episodes. By the way, well, there are plenty of great surprises in the first 4 episodes that I hope no one ruins for you. Some really great surprises. Lady Gaga is not one of them. They are saving her for part 2. I don't want you guys to be disappointed. Also, this season, they really circle the wagons, so to speak, at Nevermore Academy. And there's a lot less interaction with the regular human world. However, I have always thought that was an important part of the Addams family formula, seeing how the Addams react to the real world and how the real world reacts to the Addams family. So I really missed that element in this new season. Also, while of course not every female lead has to have a love interest, Xavier Thorpe, written off the show due to some really unfortunate revelations about actor Percy Hines-White, and then Hunter Duhans Hyde, let's just say he's still around. And kudos to the VFX department, which do a very Tim Burton-y but also they do a very, very good job with him. But I do think the gothic elements of the first season, which again are not present here, really were intriguing. I mean, you have Wednesday not used to having these romantic feelings, and it really pushes her out of her comfort zone in an interesting way. That's not here. I mean, in this new season, again, at least in the first part, Wednesday instead is very much in her comfort zone. But there's a benefit to that too. So now I want to talk about what I really like about the new season. So while I do miss a lot of the elements of season 1, and I guess, it's a little bit of a knock on the new season that they haven't totally been able to, I really feel the problem is only getting 4 episodes. But anyway, it is really nice and inspiring to see Wednesday come more into her own and become more confident. She really is growing up. The character, I mean, Jenna Ortega does seem very much almost like an adult here. But, Wednesday is becoming more like her mother, which I find fascinating, but also very much still her own person. Also, the Addams family in general is around a lot more this season. Pugsley has now enrolled at Nevermore Academy, and he's been given a surprisingly good storyline. I mean, I could see where it was going at first, but it still has managed to surprise me. And I'm intrigued to see where it continues to go. Usually, I think they've given Pugsley a lot more dignity on this show. And I kind of like the bond. They don't do it too much, but I like that Wednesday does look after him and clearly cares about her brother. So that's nice. While Morticia, worried about Wednesday, but also wanting to be closer to her daughter, she feels they've grown apart, ends up staying on campus along with Gomez. Morticia Addams is such an iconic character, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is so well cast in the role. I think it's nothing but a win for the show to make her a full-on supporting character this season. Not only does Zeta-Jones do a great job, but she gets a ton of great outfit changes. She looks so good. And one of them, she even has braids like Wednesday. And it makes you realize that while Morticia and Wednesday certainly have their differences, I think they're definitely more alike than Wednesday realizes. And I think that's a lot of what this season is about. And I like that storyline. Luis Guzman continues to be an inspired choice for Gomez. He sticks around, and I like his flirtatious, just like in the other versions of the Addams family, a lot of lovey-dovey stuff between him and Morticia. And yes, Fred Armisen also returns as Uncle Fester towards the end of part 1, and he is just so good in this role. I mean, there's even been talk of a spinoff for him. It's taking a while to get off the ground, but this is just more evidence that I would be interested in a spinoff with Uncle Fester, to be honest with you. So how is the mystery? Yes, Wednesday, season 1 was many things, and one of those things was a mystery. And season 2 also continues to be a mystery, but it's structured differently because I guess they knew they were going to be split up into 2 parts, because a lot of the questions that are posed at the beginning of season 2 are answered by the end of part 1, which I guess is good because it doesn't leave you frustrated, but it does truncate those mysteries, right? They're resolved relatively quickly. They do start to plant seeds for a couple of new mysteries to go into part 2, I think to, intrigue you. And I would consider myself intrigued, but they didn't plant their hooks in me as well as I think they could have for the second season. There's nothing where I'm like, I needs to know. I'm like, well, I could wait a month. I'll be honest with you. I have no problem waiting a month for the next chapter. There's no burning cliffhangers. I mean, I wonder if one is supposed to be. There's like something they're setting up, and they're pretty obviously going to reveal it. I hope at the beginning of part 2 because it's so freaking obvious. We'll see. But I mean, even though it's obvious, and I was like, oh, I totally see what you're doing here, I kind of like it. So I am excited to see how that plays out. Also, I sure do love insane asylum stories. If you watch this channel regularly, I'm a big fan of them. When I was, back in the day, I had written an insane asylum script and I did a ton of research on them. I just find them very interesting. And so this show has an insane asylum storyline. It's great. And by the way, since I love insane asylum stories and I pay such close attention to them, I can spot, maybe that's why I like Batman so much because of Arkham Asylum. But I could spot that this was the same set used here as in Ratched and Stranger Things. So I guess Netflix has a de facto insane asylum set that they should try to disguise a little better. Because, it took me out of it for a second where I was like, oh, it's the same place. Nevermore Academy also gets a lot more development this season. And in fact, it gets its Harry Potter on with even houses introduced. Although that made me wonder, why Wednesday and Enid aren't in a house. Like, even if their room isn't in a house, wouldn't they want to be associated with one? Right? That was weird. That made it weird. Also, if they're going to do houses, you got to do them right. They have to have different colors, just like Harry Potter. Different colors, different reasonings behind who's in them. They didn't seem to do that. You would think that the house, like last season, they focused more on everybody dividing themselves up by their supernatural abilities, or, what they were: vampires, sirens, werewolves. But now it's by house. And so they didn't seem to establish that the houses were, specific to certain types of, they call them, what did they, I forgot. They had a really good name about something pride. And I think they realized the appeal of the show. And I thought that was actually nice, the way they did it. And also, speaking of the other students at the school, I really like the students at the school, and they've added some great new ones. Outcast pride. That's the term that Steve Buscemi's character is trying to make popular during season 2. And I think that's a nice element to bring to the show. I do wish they were going more out into town, though, like they did the first season. All right, so Joy Sunday's Siren has her own storyline this season, and the show continues to think of really great ways to use her powers. I particularly like some of the ways they were asking her to use her powers here. And Evie Templeton, what a discovery! I love this character and this actress. I'm not going to give anything away about her character, but this was one of the things that genuinely surprised me about the show, and I was just absolutely delighted. I was like, what a great addition. Talk about spin-offs. I would consider Evie. She's fantastic. And it looks like she was made in a lab to be in Tim Burton projects. She's just perfect. Fantastic addition to the show. I'm not so sure about Steve Buscemi, though, or Thandaway Newton, right? I love both of them so much, but I don't think their characters are really given that much to do. They seem to be held back a little bit. Same with Joanna Lumley. It's almost like they're like, look who it is. And you're like, that's cool. I know who it is. I love them. Are you going to give them something fun to do? And speaking of that, Billie Piper of Doctor Who fame has even less to do. So I guess she's going to be vital in part 2. Haley Joel Osment has a very fun cameo. And so does Heather Matarazzo, right? And Christopher Lloyd's extended cameo had me wondering, how'd they do that? That was really clever. So how about the main cast? This continues to be Jenna Ortega's signature defining role. I hope she doesn't come to hate it. She's so good at it, but I can see her maybe getting typecast because of it. She's so good, though. She's so good. She no longer looks like a high school student, to be honest with you, but still a student. I'd buy her as a college student, and she's just so good in the role. She's so good. I loved reading about how she handles not blinking. I saw an interview with her, and she said that she just blinks on the other person's lines. And it's really effective. It's a small little thing that really makes a big difference. I love that she puts that much thought into it. And you can see that she does. I wish this script for season 2 gave her more opportunities to do something extraordinary, like she did with that dance. A lot of that was what Jenna Ortega brought to the table, right? And maybe some more lighter comedic moments like she had in season 1. I loved it when she worked at that, old New England, theme park place. That was great. Here, the role is, at least in the first 4 episodes, very one note, because Wednesday is very much a young woman on a mission. And so she has a singular goal this season. So it doesn't give her a lot of notes to play, but still, it's impossible not to enjoy Ortega as Wednesday Addams. And since Ortega is getting older and getting closer to Morticia, I think it's great to explore the differences and similarities between the two of them. I'm really enjoying that part of this season. And the show also continues to be a great balancing act with Emma Myers' bubblegum werewolf Enid. She's so fun. Wednesday and Enid are a great combo. And I love that this season, Thing becomes an official third roommate. So yeah, I know I'm not raving about season 2. I wouldn't even say disappointed. It's just not as big as the first season. But season 2s are hard because, the show came out of nowhere last time, and it was this new great thing, this great new approach to the Addams family. And now we're used to it. And also they've changed the formula a little bit. Season 1 was almost entirely about Wednesday Addams. And it was like a goth kid, fish out of water, a gothic John Hughes teen comedy, right? And now season 2, as I said, is more focused on the entire Addams family. And it's more about the whole world of monsters that they inhabit. And it takes on a broader, more closed-in feel. I really do miss, interacting more with the real world. I mean, to me, maybe some of you will prefer it this way, but to me, I guess that also made me feel more, I don't know, I would always kind of think of myself as a Wednesday, but maybe I'm somewhere between Wednesday and Enid, so I relate to Wednesday, I have to be honest, but sometimes I felt very pulled in because I felt like I could inhabit Wednesday's world thanks to the real world elements of season 1, if you know what I'm saying, right? But if you like Halloween and you like goth stories and you like horror, this is very good. Even if you don't end up watching it right away, this would be a great thing to watch around Halloween. It's new Halloween content, and that's always welcome. And again, as I said, they spared no expense. It's a very ornate show, and they have a lot going on and lots of surprises. So if you would all like the first Wednesday, I definitely think this is worth your time. You maybe could wait to watch part 1 until part 2 comes out, but then some of the stuff might be spoiled for you. I'll be curious to see if this makes as a big an impression on the pop culture space as the first season did, because at least in part 1, I think it is missing that wow factor. I'm sure when Lady Gaga shows up, people will go crazy about that. Maybe they should have put her in part 1. We'll be curious to hear what you think about that. And that's my non-spoiler review of Wednesday Season 2, Part 1. Those 4 episodes available right now on Netflix. You can go watch them right now. And the back 4 episodes, Part 2, will be available September 3rd. Share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.